pretty much everyone coming through is going to have a significant time in the bush as a bush cop?
That would be great. We have to balance it with personal circumstance as well, with some of our challenges in our spousal employment, children at school, and when the timing's right to go to remote. But there's definitely, through the cohort of young people coming through the recruit training, there's an absolute appetite for them to go to remote stations and explore the territory and connect to community. And that's, you praised the bush coppers earlier. That's absolutely essential that those relationships develop, and that's where a really important work is done across the Northern Territory, because you bring that skill set into urban areas again, because you come across the community members in Alice, Tennant, Katherine and Darwin in the future.
Can I just make a couple of quick propositions to you, then I'll be finished. And I know I asked Dr. Freckleton to mention these to you yesterday so they wouldn't come out of the blue to you. In terms of training police, we'll be making suggestions to the coroner in our submissions that the engagement of young police coming through with the Aboriginal community is so essential that there needs to be a radical shift in the training at the college. And we've had evidence about it. I won't go through it with you. But rather than have a few days of training people in Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal history and so on, that the thinking should be that should be weeks and weeks of training, not days or hours of training. So that's the first proposition I want you to just park in your mind, if you may. Does that sound appealing to you?
Yeah, it does. It's just about logistically delivering it. Yeah.
Part of that training, I suggest, would include putting all of these young recruits who are coming through for a period of perhaps 2 weeks out in the remote communities as part of their college training. Does that sound an appealing idea to you, putting logistics aside?
No. I'm sorry. I think it's a good idea, Your Honour, but I don't think it's probably a place through training. I think it's probably a place through in-service after graduation. We've got to balance it with demand and operations and what that looks like. It definitely, most of your learning is done not just in the college with cultural, because in Darwin you might train and you get exposure to either, Yolngu or Larrakia, but when you come to Alice Springs and you've got Aranda and Luritja and Walpuri, it's a different culture.
That's right.
And so it's about the in-field understanding and training and immersion that needs to occur here, and that's some of the work the ALOs are doing for us.
So I'll make a couple of propositions then I'll be here. Can I suggest to you that if you engage in a rethink of the training at the college, where there are weeks of training and education in Aboriginal culture and weeks of engagement with Aboriginal communities in a way that's quite different to what happens now, can I suggest that would have an enormous positive impact on the relationship between police and Aboriginal community? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I don't know about the time investment. I'm happy to explore other options, because we have to do things differently, Your Honour. We can't, to understand culture and have police that are deployed out of the college, they need to have an understanding of what to expect and have the respect around the law and where they're deployed to. So whether, and that's the work that Leanne's going to help me with, Miss Little, is about how we actually operate that through college, whether it's a day a week or it's online, it could be through the ALOs. I think it needs to be flexible. It needs to suit the purposes of police based at remote locations. And can I just touch on too about attracting people to remote stations? Is the investment in the government, 570 million over 4 years, includes infrastructure. So new police stations and new housing. So we've got houses that are current and safe that young families can go to, and that's going to be an entire